So thank you for joining me today. Can you just give a little information on who you are and some of the work that you've done in our community that relates to human trafficking?
So I'm Josie. I'm a junior at Westminster College and I'm studying sociology with a social welfare emphasis. So I eventually want to become a social worker. And this semester I was in an applied sociology class that worked directly with victims of human sex trafficking. In that class, I helped distribute and analyze a survey to 239 people, primarily from the Westminster community.
Okay.
And then I also volunteered with an organization called Journey of Hope. I'll be doing an internship with them this summer too. And then next year, I'm also going to be vice president of the Tipping Point.
Okay. And will you tell me a little bit about Journey of Hope? What is that? How does that?
Yeah, so Journey of Hope is an organization that works with women who are either just getting out of being incarcerated or at risk of being incarcerated. That has some pretty heavy overlap with human sex trafficking. The majority of the women in the Utah correctional facilities, around 98%, are estimated to have been victims of sexual abuse. And that is actually one of the biggest indicators that, or early childhood sexual abuse is one of the biggest indicators that you'll be trafficked. So a lot of the women have experience with that.
So building on that, a lot of times when people talk about human trafficking, it's something that happens far away in the East or in Asia. Is this, it is a global phenomenon, but how does this, is it an issue within Salt Lake?
Oh, absolutely. And I actually was a little bit more naive about the situation than I'd like to admit going into the semester. But within 2 days of a little bit of research, it became very clear that this is a problem within Utah, and it actually happens in our own backyard. And it's important to be made aware of that so people will take action to stop it.
And so with your internship that's coming up, you're going to be working with incarcerated women who have dealt with this issue. Do you think this is particularly a women's issue? Does this affect everybody? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it absolutely affects everyone. I think there's a pretty common misconception that only women and girls can be trafficked, and that's just not true. Boys, young men, older men are all at risk of being trafficked.
All right. And as you've done your research and when you distributed your survey to the local community, what did you find were some of the early indicators of people that can be trafficked? So basically the warning signs or the red flags.
Right, so as I mentioned, early child sexual abuse is a big indicator. In Utah, being LGBTQ+ is also a pretty big indicator. Also being within the foster care system or a runaway is also a pretty big indicator.
So moving forward, as you work with this was it Journey of Hope,
yes.
Right? How do you work towards solution? This seems like such a daunting task to overcome and something that's really difficult to basically beat out. What are some steps that you'll be taking to deal with this issue?
Right, I want to reach out to some local organizations and see if they think it would be possible in the 2017 Utah State Legislative Session to get a bill going that would suggest we more harshly punish Johns who solicit the victims of sex trafficking, create the demand for it, and then also the pimps.
Okay. Do you think policy route is a more effective way than grassroots, or are they both needed together?
They're both needed together because if people don't write their representatives and they don't care, then why would your representative care? Because they don't think they're following the interests of what's best for the community. And so it's very important to have a grassroots movement and also a legislative movement.
And for people who want to get involved, how can they enter in and start talking about this and enter this discourse in a grassroots way or a public way? What are their options?
So I think one of the best things you can do is like the Tipping Point's Facebook page. So it's facebook.com/tippingpointwc. And we post all sorts of events that we put on specifically and other community events. And I think a great way to get started is to start attending those events and see where you kind of best fit into the community and what skills you have and what groups are looking for what skills so you can apply it. Or even just if you don't have time or you're worried your skill sets aren't relevant,
Right.
you can donate money or clothing or feminine supplies. There are tons of ways to get involved, and I guess the best way to do it is just start going to community events and start asking people how you can help.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a really good way. And relating this back to you, how did you even get interested in this issue? What drew you into human trafficking?
So I have floated around in my college career, but never quite been able to admit that I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Right.
And so I entered college with this idea that I wanted to help people. And so at first I thought I maybe wanted to go into education, and so I tried volunteering at high school and then at elementary school, and I realized I just don't communicate with children very well. And I guess kind of a long story short, I got a research grant through the philosophy department last summer, and I studied the treatment of mental illness in modern society. And I got really interested in that, and I actually want to work specifically with incarcerated individuals with mental illness in my career. But the overlap between that and then sex trafficking, especially with the female population, is substantial. And so that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah, I'm interested, can you tell me more about the overlap between incarcerated women and sex trafficking? Why are those women in particular? I know you mentioned earlier sexual abuse can lead to sex trafficking. What are some other reasons why those women in particular are at a risk?
Well, coming from a lower socioeconomic status can definitely contribute to your risk of being trafficked. And then I guess how it relates to mental illness a little bit more, oftentimes, because the average age of entry is 10 to 15, and I mean, even if it was older, the risks of PTSD and depression and anxiety manifesting themselves from being trafficked is substantial. And then once they get in the prison system, there are a whole slew of complications about getting help.
Right. So even just from what you said, it seems like economic issues have something to play, and also social issues like where your class standing and how you basically fit into the larger hierarchical order of things, how society's placed it.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you think are some of the best resources that just everyday people, if they want to help, what can they do?
Journey of Hope's website actually has a page where you can donate, and it covers overhead costs for mentorship. So typically what happens is if somebody leaves like the prison or jail system, depending on their sentence, they get paired with a mentor, and so the mentor helps them kind of break the cycle of going in and out of prison. And so there are ways to donate to that website. I think donation is a really good starting place. And then just educating yourself too, so you know how to best help and identify signs or warning signs.
Right. All right. Well, thank you for meeting with me today.
Definitely.
I appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you.